The best of Money Matters. Wealth Tracker.
Welcome to the Wealth Tracker, where we dive into the uncharted territories of niche investment strategies that promise to redefine wealth. Hello, I'm Hongbin Jeong. The cross-border payments landscape is undergoing a fundamental shift, especially across APAC, driven by rising digital trade, real-time expectations, and increasing demand for scalable, cost-efficient infrastructure. Now, as innovation accelerates and strategic partnerships expand, particularly in markets like Singapore and Australia, questions arise. Where is the smart money going in the payments ecosystem? What role would technologies and embedded finance play in shaping the next decade of cross-border commerce? Well, to find out more, joining me now is Mishal Ruparel, who is the CCO at Banking Circle. Mishal, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Well, Mishal, how would you describe the current state of cross-border payments in the APAC region at the moment?
Okay, very good. So I've been in the region now for roughly 4.5 years. I was previously based in London. So I've got to spend quite a bit of time understanding the region, some of the pain points businesses are facing. And I think I'd probably sum it up by saying it's quite fragmented, but it is evolving at an incredible pace. There are a lot of the e-commerce businesses are expanding globally. There is a strong drive for remittance payments. Trade, cross-border trade is growing at an incredible pace. But I think the challenge a lot of these businesses are facing is how do you send funds real-time, instant, with full transparency around, the sender and receiver. And there's a lot of challenges when it comes to cross-border payments. I think domestic payments, especially in markets like Singapore and Australia, has evolved at an incredible pace. You've got really strong real-time payment networks now that are sort of helping and facilitating these payments. But the challenges, of course, comes when you're looking to send funds cross-border.
Okay. Well, on that note then, why should investors be paying closer attention to the transformation of cross-border payments in APAC right now? Where are the opportunities?
So I think, we're at a pivotal moment when we're looking at the current landscape from an investor perspective. I think roughly 60% of the global population is in APAC, which is incredible. And these economies are growing at an incredible pace and are very digital as well. So there is a lot of opportunity. I think the challenge, of course, is how do you resolve pain points such as speed, transparency, as I've just described. And a lot of fintechs are looking to address some of these pain points. Inefficiencies within the ecosystem, how do you operate and work with some of the banks, the regulators? I think this is where fintechs are really beginning to see opportunities in partnering and resolving some of these friction and pain points. But fundamentally, it's whoever can sort of fix that primary pain point, which is cross-border payments. But from an investor perspective, it is very attractive. This is a very recurring revenue stream. It's very sticky. So there's a lot of opportunity within the APAC space.
So what makes the APAC region then a particularly fertile ground for disrupting legacy payment infrastructure?
I think you've got a number of opportunities here within the region. Like I mentioned earlier, you've got very strong domestic payment schemes, but the challenge is how do you facilitate those payments cross-border, real-time and instant? The landscape today, I think, if you're, for example, making a payment cross-border, there's going to be delays in payments. There's going to be banks that's going to be deducting fees. And that all makes it into quite a challenging environment. Now, I think lots of fintechs and banks are doing a bottom-up approach. So how do you connect these schemes? How do you bring interoperability so that a payment becomes real-time and instant? So, for example, if I'm sending a payment from Singapore to Australia, that should be easy. It should be real-time. It should be instant. And that's how businesses generally want to transact. And I think for the retail users, it's largely resolved. But when you're looking at businesses, fintechs and banks, there's a lot of friction in those payments. And on the other side of the equation, you've got a lot of new technologies that's coming in, for example, blockchain and stablecoins, and they're taking very much a top-down approach. So how do we build a ledger, an ecosystem on top of these banking legacy platforms and infrastructure and use the existing rails to help facilitate real-time payments? So everyone's sort of approaching this problem from different angles. Personally, I think it's going to end somewhere in the middle, but it's a really fascinating space.
Okay, so which sectors or use cases are poised to benefit most from modernized cross-border payment solutions?
So e-commerce, without a doubt, is the clear winner. You've got a scenario now where platforms are now enabling buyers and sellers to transact across borders. Before it was very domestic, but now, of course, businesses want to be transacting globally. So e-commerce platforms, marketplace businesses, gig economies, where they're transacting cross-border, absolutely. Real-time settlement to the end merchant means that businesses are getting funds instantly. They don't have to wait 2 or 3 days. They know exactly the amount of funds that they're receiving. It just improves their working capital and allows their businesses to perform better. And I think, moving away from e-commerce platforms, we're looking at traditional fintechs and FX providers, which, again, the evolution of cross-border payments is really helping their business in modernizing the solutions which they can provide to the underlying corporates.
Interesting. Well, then what does true interoperability look like, and how can it become a competitive moat for emerging players?
So for me, true interoperability is in essence how simple a cross-border payment should be. So if you're a business in the UK and you're sending a payment to a business in Australia, I should be able to make that payment through a local payment scheme in the UK, for example, Faster Payments, and the end beneficiary should receive that payment through the local Australian payment scheme, for example, NPP. And that should be real-time, that should be instant, it should be easy, transparent, and the end beneficiary should see exactly who the sender of that payment is. So interoperability to me is just how simple should a payment be, how simple should a cross-border payment be. That is a very difficult infrastructure to build. It is in essence where the market is moving, and that's where the real opportunity lies.
Well, Banking Circle offers local clearing in major currencies, multi-currency accounts, and virtual IBANs with award-winning infrastructure that powers over 550 billion euros in payment volumes. What does your expansion into Singapore and Australia signal about where growth is heading in the APAC payments landscape?
Yeah. So a big part of what we do is we will access the central clearing system. And that's one of the reasons why we have a banking license in Europe. So it enables us to access the central bank clearing system. We can basically power real-time payments. And we do that today. We've been doing that for the best part of the last 12 years. And over the last 4 years, we've been expanding in the APAC region. We've just received our in-principle approval for an MPI license in Singapore. So we will be building our presence here to service the APAC region. And we've also recently acquired a bank in Australia, which is going through regulatory approval. And that means we will be able to access the central bank clearing system in Australia and, again, power real-time payments. So as we look to bring these payment schemes globally under a single API, if you're a fintech, you're a bank, you're a marketplace provider, you can basically enable real-time instant payments globally, with the hope that we can then provide interoperability within these payment systems.
Amazing.
And that is how we will be powering the global real-time payments network.
Right. Well, before we let you go here, I believe Banking Circle recently partnered with Visa. Tell us more about the recent partnership with Visa. What does it aim to achieve?
Yeah, so Visa Direct, this is a really exciting opportunity for Banking Circle, and we're very proud of our association with Visa Direct. In essence, we will be powering some of the settlement that Visa Direct will be doing to their end businesses, fintechs and banks. It will be leveraging Banking Circle's clearing rails that we've built in some of the markets across the globe. And again, it goes back to what do we stand for? We stand for speed of payments, and we do that by accessing the clearing systems. And Visa Direct will be using that network to power real-time payments to their end users. And again, these payments will be running through our banking infrastructure. It will be real-time and with full transparency on payments as well. So yes, we're very proud with our association with Visa, and we will be making a lot more announcements over the next few months with more exciting opportunities with other providers as well.
Looking forward to it. Well, thank you so much, Mishal, for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really nice talking to you.
Thank you. That was Mishal Ruparel, who is the CCO at Banking Circle. This has been The Wealth Tracker with me, Hongbin Jeong.
Before acting on the information on Money FM, please consider if it's suitable for your own investment objectives, financial situation, and risk tolerance. To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.